Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Planet of Baseball podcast. Hope you're ready to dive deep into the latest action from the big leagues.
Absolutely. And hey, if you want even more detailed, deeper analysis and all the latest baseball buzz after listening, make sure you check out our blog over at planet-baseball.com. Always something fresh over there.
Yeah, and a special shout out and a big thank you to Frank Pereiro. That's at Frank Pereiro on X from Planet of Baseball. He did the heavy lifting, compiling the info that's going to be the backbone of this deep dive. Thanks for that, Frank.
For sure. And don't forget to follow us on X, formerly Twitter. Our handle is at Planet of Baseball. We're always posting news and updates there, so you won't miss a thing.
All right, so today's deep dive, we're going to zoom in on the highlights from Tuesday, April 9th in MLB. We'll also look ahead at the matchups for today, April 10th.
And of course, we'll chat about some of the interesting topics making waves on the Planet of Baseball blog recently.
Right. We'll break down the game results, those key individual performances that really stood out, and touch on some relevant themes being discussed on the blog.
Exactly. The mission here, like always, is to give you a solid, concise overview of what's happening across MLB. Keep you informed, you know.
And maybe point out a few interesting details you might have missed in all the action. So, you ready to get into it?
Let's do it. Let's jump straight into those results from Wednesday, April 9th. Some pretty interesting games happen.
Okay, kicking things off with a real marathon. Cardinals at Pirates. Pittsburgh took it 2-1. Took them 13 innings.
Phew, yeah, a classic pitcher's duel that just kept going. And then Joey Bart ends it with that walk-off single in the bottom of the 13th. Just like that.
Crazy ending after such a tight game. A single hit deciding it all after all that time.
You wonder about bullpen management in games like that, right? But Bart got the job done for Pittsburgh.
Definitely. Then we had maybe a bit of a surprise. Marlins shutting out the Mets 5-0 in New York.
Yeah, didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
Max Meyer was just fantastic for Miami. 6 1/3 scoreless, only gave up 2 hits.
Quite the performance. Snapped the Mets' 6-game win streak, too. Their offense just went cold.
Totally cold. Was it just Meyer being unhittable or an off day for the Mets bats? Hard to say, but impressive for Meyer.
No doubt. And speaking of dominant pitching, how about Max Fried for the Yankees against the Tigers?
Oh man, Fried was electric. 7 shutout innings, punched out 11. Just overpowering stuff.
Absolutely dominant. And the offense did just enough. Ben Rice with the go-ahead homer. Judge drove in a couple.
Right. Yanks won 4-3. Tigers made it interesting in the 9th, but couldn't quite finish the comeback. Good tight win for New York.
Shows they can grind out wins, which is key. Okay, let's head to Texas. Rangers beat the Cubs 6-2. Corey Seager had himself a day.
Yeah, 2 solo shots for Seager. When he connects, it goes a long way.
No kidding. And for the Cubs, Shuta Imanaga had a rough 5th inning, gave up 4 runs.
Yeah, that inning kind of blew it open. Jonah Heim and Marcus Semien both went deep off him. Tough one for Imanaga after a good start.
And Tyler Malo was solid for the Rangers on the other side. 7 strong innings. Definitely helped seal the deal.
Good pitching makes a difference. Next up, Padres edge the Athletics 2-1. Tight game.
Xander Bogaerts came through for San Diego, had a double, scored both runs, clutch performance.
Yeah, a productive night for Bogaerts. Important win for the Padres where every run mattered. Maybe he's finding his groove.
Padres certainly hope so. Okay, now for a bit of a blowout. Diamondbacks crushed the Orioles 9-0.
Wow, yeah. Brandon Pfaadt was dealing for Arizona. 6 scoreless innings, just 4 hits allowed.
Just a gem. And the D-backs offense was relentless. Corbin Carroll extended his on-base streak, and the team hit, 4 home runs?
The homers, yeah. Just an offensive explosion. Tough night all around for the Orioles. Makes you wonder if it's a blip or something more.
Hard to tell, but 9 runs is a lot. Reds and Giants had a bit of a slugfest. Giants won 8-6.
Yeah, back and forth. Mike Yastrzemski was big for San Francisco, hit a homer and a double. Drove in some key runs.
Offensive game for sure. Kind of highlights maybe some inconsistency from both pitching staffs in that one.
Could be. Over in L.A., the Dodgers beat the Nationals 6-5. Landon Knack had a bit of a shaky start for them.
Yeah, Knack didn't have his best stuff, but the Dodgers bullpen held it down.
And the offense came through when needed. Shows the depth of that Dodgers team, right? They can win even when the starter struggles.
Absolutely crucial for a championship contender. Okay, the Astros-Mariners game. What a finish.
Oh, man. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Mariners came back to win 7-6.
Randy Arozarena ties it with a grand slam in the 8th. just incredible.
And then they win it on a bases-loaded walk in the ninth. You just can't
Right.
script that stuff. What a comeback.
Seriously wild ending. Another close one. Guardians beat the White Sox 3-2.
Carlos Santana provided the difference with a solo homer. The veteran still has some pop.
He does indeed. Clutch hit for the Guardians. White Sox are hanging tough in these games, but just falling short sometimes.
Yeah, close, but no cigar. Okay, now for maybe the pitching performance of the night. Kevin Gausman for the Blue Jays against Boston.
Oh, absolutely masterful. 8 shutout innings, 10 strikeouts, and 0 walks. Just complete dominance.
Couldn't have pitched much better. Blue Jays won 2-1, largely thanks to him. Is this the Gausman we're going to see all year?
Fans in Toronto sure hope so. Elsewhere, the Rays beat the Angels 5-4. Jose Caballero had a big night for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Caballero was the spark plug, hit a homer, drove in 4 runs, really stepped up.
Key performance. Probably some good defensive plays in that tight game, too. Phillies held off the Braves 4-3.
Tree Turner led the way for Philly, homered, drew a walk, big contributions in a key divisional matchup.
Always intense games between those two rivals. Definitely felt like a big win for the Phillies.
For sure. Then the Twins shut out the Royals, 4s out. Joe Ryan was lights out on the mound.
Totally unhittable. 7 shutout innings, no walks, only 4 strikeouts, but just pure efficiency.
Yeah, looked really sharp. Seems like he's really dialed in this season. Great outing for him.
Definitely. And finally, to wrap up the Wednesday games, well, the Brewers put up a football score on the Rockies.
Huh. Yeah, 17-2. Just an offensive onslaught by Milwaukee.
Jackson Chourio had a big night, homer, and a double. The kid looks like the real deal.
He really does. Brewers' bats were just on fire. Tough night for Colorado pitching, obviously.
Yeah, just couldn't find the zone, and Milwaukee made them pay. What a day of baseball on April 9th.
Wild stuff.
Yeah.
So let's shift gears now and talk about some of the interesting posts up on the Planet of Baseball blog from that same day.
Good idea. First one mentioned is about strikeouts, walks, and misleading ERAs. Sounds interesting.
Yeah, this one digs into sabermetrics a bit. It explains how sometimes a pitcher's earned run average, or ERA, doesn't tell the whole story, especially early in the season.
Right, because things like defense and luck can skew the ERA quite a bit in small samples.
Exactly. So the article focuses on stats like FIP, fielding independent pitching, or xFIP. These try to measure what the pitcher actually controlled. Things like strikeouts, walks, home runs allowed.
So the idea is if you're evaluating a pitcher early on, looking at their FIP or xFIP might give you a better clue about their true performance level than just the ERA alone.
Precisely. It helps filter out some of the noise, useful stuff for fantasy players, or just understanding pitcher performance better.
Definitely good to keep in mind. Okay, next up on the blog, everything ready for the 2026 World Baseball Classic. Getting excited already.
Yeah, can you believe it? The groups, venues, and schedule for the next WBC are already announced.
Wow. So the post breaks down some of the potentially exciting matchups where the games will be played.
And some of the early reactions, which groups look like the toughest, that kind of thing. It really starts building the anticipation, even though it's still a ways off.
For sure. Something to look forward to. On a more somber note, the blog also marked the passing of Octavio Dotel.
Yeah, really sad news.
Yeah.
A true bullpen warrior. The Post remembered his long career, his durability.
He holds the record for playing for the most MLB franchises, right? 13 teams, I think.
That's right. A journeyman reliever, but a really effective one for a long time. Pitched for 2 decades. A big loss for the baseball community.
Definitely. Switching back to analysis, there was an article titled, "The Contracts Defining the New Market." Always a hot topic.
Oh, yeah. Big money deals. This piece looked at 11 major contract extensions signed recently across MLB.
And it kind of evaluates who might be the long-term winners in these deals, the teams or the players, based on the terms and projections.
It's fascinating to see how teams are locking up their stars and the different strategies they're using. Always sparks debate about whether a contract was smart or an overpay.
For sure, those discussions will go on for years. And finally, the blog also had a MLB recap. Tuesday, April 8th, 2025.
Right. Just a quick way for readers to catch up if they missed the previous day's action. Cover the results, key news, injuries, and the previews for the Wednesday games we just discussed.
Perfect for staying up to date. So a lot of good stuff on the blog as always.
Definitely worth checking out. Okay, so with Wednesday's results and the blog insights covered, let's look ahead. What's on tap for today, Thursday, April 10th?
All right, we've got 6 games scheduled for today. Let's run through the matchups and pitching probables.
Lay 'em on us.
First pitch is early, 1:10 p.m. Eastern. We've got the Chicago White Sox at the Cleveland Guardians, Progressive Field.
Okay, division matchup.
Jonathan Cannon goes for the White Sox, Gavin Williams for the Guardians. Cannon's looking for his first win, Williams trying to shut down Chicago at home.
Interesting AL Central clash to start the day. What's next?
Same time, 1:10 p.m. Eastern, down in George M. Steinbrenner Field, technically. Los Angeles Angels versus the Tampa Bay Rays.
Angels and Rays, okay.
Jose Soriano for the Angels. He's got some velocity. Zach Littell goes for the Rays. He's also looking for his first win. Tampa trying to defend home turf.
Rays are always tough at home, but Soriano could make things interesting if he's locating.
Then at 2:10 p.m. Eastern, the Minnesota Twins are at the Kansas City Royals, Kauffman Stadium.
Another AL Central game.
Bailey Ober gets the ball for Minnesota, needs a quality start after a bit of a rough patch. Michael Wacha goes for the Royals, also looking to improve his numbers. Both teams jockeying for position.
Yeah, every win counts in that division, even early on.
Okay, heading west. 3:00 p.m. Eastern in Denver. Milwaukee Brewers at the Colorado Rockies, Coors Field.
Uh-oh, Coors Field debut.
Yep. Quinn Priester makes his season debut for the Brewers and gets Coors Field right off the bat. Ryan Feltner pitches for the Rockies.
Could be fireworks in that thin air. Always a challenge pitching there, especially for a debut.
No doubt. Then at 4:00 p.m. Eastern, classic AL East rivalry. Toronto Blue Jays at Boston Red Sox. Fenway Park.
Jays and Sox, always a good one.
Really interesting pitching matchup here. Chris Bassitt for Toronto, who's been absolutely stellar so far. Walker Buehler for Boston, who's struggled a bit and is looking to find his form.
That's a great contrast. Bassitt riding high, Buehler trying to bounce back. Key game in a tough division.
For sure. And finally, the nightcap, 7:15 p.m. Eastern. Big NL East showdown. Philadelphia Phillies at Atlanta Braves. Truist Park.
Ooh, Philly and Atlanta. That's the main event for many, I bet.
Gotta be. And a top-tier pitching matchup. Jesus Luzardo for the Phillies. Spencer Schwellenbach for the Braves.
Wow, Luzardo's been dealing. Schwellenbach is talented too, though younger. That should be a fantastic duel.
Absolutely. High stakes, great arms. Can't ask for much more than that to close out the Thursday slate.
Seriously, what a lineup of games today.
So just to quickly recap, April 9th gave us some thrilling finishes, dominant pitching, offensive explosions, a bit of everything.
And the Planet of Baseball blog offered deeper dives into stats, a look ahead to the WBC, remembered a legend, analyzed contracts, and kept everyone caught up.
And now we've got 6 intriguing games on deck for today, April 10th. Featuring some great pitching duels and important divisional battles.
So again, we definitely encourage everyone to head over to planet-baseball.com, read those articles, get more details, stay plugged into everything baseball.
And follow us on X at Planet of Baseball for real-time updates and commentary. We love interacting with you all there.
And maybe as a final thought to leave you with, looking at today's slate, which game are you most excited about? Or which blog topic really got you thinking?
Yeah, keep exploring the game, keep questioning, keep enjoying it. Thanks for tuning into this deep dive, and we'll catch you next time for more from the world of MLB.